Hello, my friend. We have a juicy video today because we're talking about how to be an excellent conversationalist. And this is a really important life skill. If you observe people who have a lot of connections, who have a lot of fun, who have a lot of friends, who get all of the opportunities, you'll notice that most of them are really great at just the art of conversation, keeping it flowing, keeping it real, and being able to really hold their own in any social situation. And I'm giving you my very top tips for this today. But before we begin, please make sure to like this video, hit the bell icon so you're notified of any new cool videos I drop, and subscribe to this channel because I have a whole lot of good stuff coming your way. The first rule of really being able to connect with somebody else, no matter how different your backgrounds might be or how different your life experience is to somehow find some common ground. And this is easier than you may initially think. You may think, oh, I don't know this person. How could we possibly have anything in common? Often we might have another person in common, or a place we like to vacation, or an affinity for a certain restaurant, or a love of a certain brand, or even a television show. Sometimes this is referred to as the halo effect. And what that means essentially is if we make a connection with someone and find similarity, a common ground, even liking the same sports team, for example, that often means that we think that us and the other person are going to have a lot of things in common. One thing that we have in common will really parlay into, oh, me and this person that I'm talking to, we're similar. We have a lot of shared common ground, which really builds the like and trust factor very, very quickly. So if you're going somewhere and you know ahead of time who might be there, you can even do a quick social search, see what they're up to, see even maybe on LinkedIn, if it's a professional setting, where they went to school, what they're passionate about. And anytime you can find common ground, you can kick off your conversation in that area or allow that area of similarity to sharpen your conversation pretty quickly so you establish that halo effect. Far easier to do than most people think and something that most people neglect to do. So great points for you if you kick off with this. Another thing you can do is to really be aware of current trends, what's happening in the world, what people are talking about, because there's nothing really worse than going out and meeting people who aren't in tune with what maybe is even trending on TV, what's happening in the world, what is even happening around where you live. I remember in my ad career, everyone was talking about Game of Thrones. And look, this is years ago, right? When it was really popular, became, I think, the most watched television show at the time. I wasn't watching it, but often when I went to lunches, went to events, when I did calls, some of the icebreakers or conversations were around, did you see Game of Thrones last night? How do you think Game of Thrones is going to end? How about what's going on with Game of Thrones right now? There was a whole lot of just conversation trends, hashtags around it. And so, ironically, I made it my mission to work better by watching more television so I could just be part of those conversations. I remember once me, my husband and I, Heath, we went out for dinner with another couple, and it was a pretty new friendship. And it was hard for us to find common ground because they didn't watch anything that we watched. We weren't kind of doing any similar things that they were doing. And I remember just thinking, gosh, tuning into the right TV show or reading a book that's trending or just being aware, whatever it may be in your circle, in your industry, in your town, can really be a great bonding experience. So tune into what's happening, what's hot, so it's very easy for you to chime into any other conversations. Another thing you can do, which is very easy for us to not be conscious of, is to make sure your body language is open. Whenever we have crossed arms or we're covering our body whatsoever, it's like a block. And subconsciously we think, oh, that person doesn't really want to engage with us. So even just having your shoulders back, your chin up, smiling, making eye contact, this makes a big difference in terms of connectivity with somebody else. And like I said, we're not often aware when we're doing it. We just think, oh, this is just how I am. I'm just sitting like this. Our body language speaks 1,000 words. It's how we really read someone before any words are exchanged. So leaning forward, listening, making sure that our body is open and receptive makes a huge difference in terms of how others respond to us. Another tip here, and again, unconscious a lot of the time, is it can be easy to be negative without knowing it. Even sometimes sarcasm sometimes can come across a little negative when you don't know somebody well. So being able to be optimistic, having a positive point of view on things, and not to be fake, right? It's important that you are yourself. But if a conversation is going in an area that feels negative or you have nothing positive to contribute, you can always gently steer the conversation in the direction of something positive. Because negativity repels, my friends. Even if everybody is kind of in on the same negative conversation, it doesn't feel good for long, and negativity will really bring the energy down. It's far more uplifting, engaging, fun, light to be positive, to have an optimistic point of view. And instead of saying things like, I don't like that, that's tacky, that's uncool, you can use other language like, that's interesting. I never thought about that before. Because negativity is a real conversation killer, and it doesn't attract anybody to you. So as a conversationalist, you want to be upbeat, positive, and focus on what's working and what it is that you love. And anything that's really high vibe for you, that's real and sincere, of course. And finally, don't be afraid to partake in conversation. Sometimes we think, I'll just sit back, smile, do the body language thing, say nothing negative, and that's enough. And in some cases, sure, especially if you don't feel like engaging, do whatever you have to do to make it through a dinner or some type of event where maybe you don't really even want to be there. But when someone is passionate and they can contribute to a conversation from an honest place, maybe you have a hobby that you're passionate about or something in the world that you're passionate about. Remember, positive again. Whenever we're positive humans and we show up with a passion in our conversation, it's very attractive. I noticed this with a couple of friends of mine who speak very passionately about books that they're reading or passionate about topics that they care about and progress that's happening with those topics. You just feel so drawn to these people because passion is very, very sexy. And don't be afraid to speak. Don't be afraid to be seen. Don't be afraid to really let your voice be heard and show up as you and let other people see you. If you employ these things, my friends, you will notice not only how the world responds to you, it will be different and pretty awesome, but you'll have more fun. You'll make more friends and connections that will last for you, not just in the immediate, few minutes or hours that you're partaking in the conversation, but for, who knows, weeks, months, years from there. Because being a good conversationalist, knowing how to show up, be positive, be yourself, create connections, find that common ground, and be able to contribute to conversations that other people are happening, this will transfer all of your social interactions. And you, my friend, will have a whole lot more fun and make more friends. If you like this video, again, please be sure to like it, subscribe to this channel, and head on over to susie-more.com for a whole lot more of free, juicy content from me. Bye for now.